One of the most difficult things immediately after a person's passing is where's the will. The will can contain all sorts of information such as instructions for the funeral, as well as who the executor is that might be responsible for securing the estate and perhaps dealing with the deceased body. So, the Public Trustee launched the WA Will Bank around 10 years ago in 2009, and it resulted from a number of people calling the Public Trustee because they were looking for a loved one's will. So we opened up our vault and we've called it the WA Will Bank. There's 120,000 wills in the Will Bank. It's absolutely free and it's a safe and secure place to store your will. People store their wills in all sorts of unique places. They often think that it's good to put it in a nice, safe, secret place. So they squirrel it away in places like on top of the wardrobe, in the undie drawer, in the safe. Some people leave their wills in their lawyer's office. The problem with law firms is that they do change their names, they move, the solicitor might pass away, so unless you keep track of what's happening with that particular law firm or your beneficiaries know which lawyer holds your will, you may lose the will that way. People put them in a safety deposit box, and accessing safety deposit box can be quite difficult if you don't have a grant of probate. But to get a grant of probate, you need the original will, and unfortunately the original will is in the safety deposit box, so you have a circular problem there. One of the problems an executor will face if a person dies intestate, meaning that there is no will or no will can be found, or the will perhaps isn't valid, is that there's a likelihood that the Administration Act will come into play. The Administration Act dictates who will get what from the estate, in what order and what set proportions. So if the will is held safely and is accessible and discoverable, then there's less likely chance that that will happen. We've got good examples of where wills have been destroyed, and an example of that will be in bushfires where a person has died in the fire in their own home and the will was in their safe, and the entire home was destroyed, and therefore so was the will. Because there was no understanding of what was in that will, the person was deemed to die intestate, and then the law dictated how that estate was distributed. Talking about wills and deceased estates and the location of a will can be a very uncomfortable conversation. We encourage people to have those conversations, and often there's something in the media that will trigger the opportunity to have the conversation. For example, there are lots of celebrities who die and their estates are aggressively fought over. So that might be an opportunity to talk about ensuring that the family has wills in place and that people know where they're stored, and to think about whether or not they're safely stored, and think about the will bank.